Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You're ready?
I'm ready.
I feel like I should move my glass, actually.
Maybe. We should start with the cheers.
Oh, yeah, we should. Okay, hold on.
And then if you want to you can put it up there.
That's true. Okay, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Welcome, Karn.
Thank you.
Are you excited?
I am.
Do you like hearing your voice on the headphones?
It's a little trippy, but I don't mind it.
I feel like it's like ASMR right now with the glasses and hearing the ice jingling.
It's not bad.
Okay, so you are coming into this blind.
Very blind.
Very blind.
Yeah.
You know very little about what we're doing here.
Zero.
You're trusting me.
I do. I trust you.
Okay, well, I don't know if you should trust me, but...
Well, I wouldn't say that starting it off. Okay.
So we are, basically what we are going to be doing is we are going to be going through a bunch of Reddit stories today that people post online about different glitches or NDEs or their experience. And then we'll go through the comment section and then we'll kind of get your take on it and whether you think the person's making it up or...
Okay, that's cool. Okay, question though. What's NDE?
Near-death experience.
Right, now I know. NDE.
Yeah.
Solid.
And I prepared a whole bunch of stories for you.
Okay.
So before we get into it, what is your background? How much do you know about the metaphysical or any of these topics of interest to you? Have you done any deep dives before?
I'm sure I have done deep dives. I'm a big advocate of Multiverse. I do believe in that.
So you're going to love this.
Yeah, I don't think I have enough knowledge or facts to be able to discuss it. Maybe just sharing stories that I've heard or films that I've seen or things that I've heard. But no, I can't say I'm like a connoisseur in NDEs, but maybe something will come up.
Is there like anything that you do in your day-to-day life that people would associate with the spiritual world, like meditating, crystals?
I never understood the crystals, so I can't, and there's no shame to that. I just never
looked into it.
I never looked into it, but I never really felt something towards that. But in relation to what you're talking about, I think the most similar thing would be the fact that I am a spiritual person. So a form of meditation is in my daily routine, as well as manifesting. Okay.
What do you do to manifest?
A few things. One, I think it depends on how I'm feeling, but I do a lot of journaling, and sometimes I'll do journaling with a certain type of rhythmic sound to kind of make me feel like I'm in tune, and then I'll say what I'm journaling out loud and really believe it.
Oh, cool. Do you journal as though it is you in the future journaling a reality that you are trying to, because I do know, what is it? I think it's, there's a word for it when you write as though it is you who already has the thing that you're asking the universe for. And like you're trying to get your brain used to the pattern of what it feels like.
Yeah, I do both. I do past and future.
Oh.
I've done more past of like just, it's never good to keep all negativity and feelings and emotions inside and bottled up. So I need to just write it out because I have so many thoughts and they're not always clear, and I just need to spit it out so I can empty my brain.
Oh, I get that.
So it could be nonsense, but I just need to let it out. And then when I'm really focused, I will talk as if I'm like, I've already received what I want or what I deserve. Or also like, I don't know, I just kind of talk it out. I think it's dependent.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so we're going to get started with a story.
Okay.
Let's just jump right into it. So our first story here is from r/glitch in the matrix, and it is 10 months old, entitled, "I got stuck in the summer of 1986. Was it a time glitch?"
That's the title? Okay.
That's what they write.
I got stuck in the summer of 1986. Was it a time glitch?
Well, it's time glitch, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
So here we go. I have the same routine every day. I get up at around 5 a.m., grab a quick bite, watch a little TV, get dressed, and head to work. I live with one roommate. We've shared this apartment for about 2 years. About 7 months ago, back in February, I got up like usual, but something felt off. I couldn't put my finger on it, but there was a strange, uneasy feeling in the air, like a quiet wrongness, but I couldn't explain it. Then I noticed something on the kitchen counter. There was a tray with American flag napkins, some homemade cookies shaped like stars with red and blue icing, and what looked like off-brand M&Ms. It struck me as odd. I mean, it was still winter. Why would my roommate leave out 4th of July stuff in February? I grabbed something to eat, turned on the TV, and that's when things got even weirder. None of the streaming apps were working. It was just a regular TV, but not a normal regular TV. Everything looked old, like vintage commercials, dated newscasts, and reruns that I didn't recognize. Then one of the commercials mentioned a 4th of July sale. That's when I really started to feel freaked out. I finally landed on a weather channel, and in the corner of the screen it said, July 3rd, 1986. I thought maybe this is one of those nostalgia channels, a throwback lineup maybe, or something. But every channel I flipped to, it was all the same. Old commercials, old TV shows. For context, I was born in 2003, so I don't have any frame of reference for what the 80s looked like. But at the moment, everything just looked really old. I started to panic and instinctively reached for my phone to call my mom. I'm not sure why, that just felt like the person I needed to speak to at the time. But when I tried to call her, the phone wouldn't connect. I kept trying to dial, but it never went through. That's when the panic really started to set in. I decided to wake my roommate up. I headed straight down the hallway towards her room when I saw something or someone. A woman, maybe in her 70s, casually walked across the hallway. She was holding a tray and it had something on it. She walked straight out of my roommate's room and into my room. And then she vanished. She didn't look like a ghost, at least not what I imagine a ghost would look like. She looked like a totally normal person. I freaked out, ran into my roommate's room, woke her up, and frantically tried to explain what was happening, half expecting her to think I lost it. But to my surprise, she came with me to check. By the time we got back, the 4th of July food was gone, the TV was back to normal. She believes me, though. We still talk about it, wondering if it'll ever happen again. And all I can think is maybe it was some kind of time glitch. I don't know. But even now, the whole thing just freaks me the hell out.
That's trippy.
Yeah.
So 2 things come to mind. Mm-hmm. One, I'm a believer of this. I've never experienced it. It'd be a cool story. I think I've seen it's VHS 98. I think this was called the TV show, and there's some similarities to that. But the one thing that I thought was odd was that it was a little too hyper-specific. Mm-hmm. And I think in the moment, when you're going through that, it's very hard to remember all those really fine details. Like, it lost me when the woman was walking across, and then all of a sudden she vanished, and it just... I don't know, maybe the way they wrote it or the way they described it, it just felt too
specific?
Real. Yeah.
Also, just so that you know, I do edit them. So usually they write a little bit more like, so when it sounds a little bit more like it's a story, I do go through the stories and like make them sound a little, all the facts are the same, all the content is the same. But in terms of like the flow of it, so if it sounds too specific, like it's a story, it's also because I do go through and like get rid of the filler words, and when things are a little bit too repetitive, I might remove one so it's not as long.
So in this story, so they had their cell phones.
Yeah.
They didn't vanish. I guess everything looked the same, but it felt old.
Yeah. So my understanding is, we'll get into some of the comments because OP, the original poster, that's OP, he does respond to people who ask him questions. So somebody had asked OP what they would have used to call their mom and how they turned the TV on and what it looked like. And so they responded to that to say, I used my iPhone to call my mom. I turned the TV on the same way I normally do, but the TV was just channels and it would not let me go to the streaming apps page when I would hit the button for them. Everything on the TV seemed old from what I remember. I mostly saw commercials. I don't remember all of them because I was flipping through them quickly, but I definitely remember these. A cereal commercial for something that looked like Chex but wasn't Chex, a 4th of July furniture sale, an old truck ad, a Pepsi commercial. Then there were 2 shows on TV that I wasn't familiar with, there were some news stations, but I don't remember what they were talking about. And then there was the Weather Channel that had the date. So somebody else asks, so your TV was still modern and the remote was there and everything, but it was just showing different channels? And they say, yes, everything else in the apartment was the exact same, except for the food in the kitchen and what was playing on the TV.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was like, does that stuff switch? I was like, because you're saying you're flickering it, but during that time, did they have remotes?
No, so he's basically saying that everything was the same except for these two weird things that I guess were happening. Like the veil almost dropped in two specific areas.
So when he went to go wake up his roommate, that's when everything went back to normal?
Mm-hmm. So somebody does say that they have something called hypnopompic hallucinations, which are walking hallucinations. They ask, how long did this go on for before you woke your roommate up? I have something called hypnopompic hallucinations, which are basically waking hallucinations. I see things that I absolutely cannot deny are real, and yet they're hallucinations. Like they are as real to me as anything else in my surroundings, but I know that they aren't there. You keep hallucinating until you fully wake up. It happens when you wake up while still in REM sleep. So I can be freaking out awake over something I see for a few good minutes. I usually go and get help, and that other person is able to snap me out of it. For some reason, when I start speaking to somebody else, it helps me fully come to and wake up, especially since I realize that they can't see the hallucinations that I'm seeing. Like, I explain what's going on, we go to check it out, and then it somehow grounds me back in reality. I'm also awake the entire time, so I know it isn't a lucid dream. From what I understand, I am awake, but my mind is still in REM sleep, so it overlays the dream world with my real environment, causing hallucinations. These hallucinations also do cross over to TV and technology. I can hallucinate different times and dates on my TV and phone. If this instant lasted for less than 10 minutes, I think it could be this. So that's a possible explanation.
Did I mean, sounds right. Did he explain how long that was going on for?
So the OP does respond, and he says, or she says, I've never had a hallucination before. Nothing like this has ever happened to me. But they also say the only thing that makes me question the hallucination explanation is that some people online have sent me photos and videos of things that I have described in this post, and they match what I've seen exactly. And I was born in the early 2000s, so there's no way for me to have known those specific details.
Yeah, but what specifically? Like he said, is it a he or she?
I think it's that because she said they said their roommate and referred to it as a she, so I guess
just assume it's a woman.
I don't know.
That's fine. So they said this, but the thing is, like, you could look up. You said 80s or 70s?
80s.
You could look up 80s commercials.
So
like that, like that's a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So there are some comments. So somebody writes, "Wait, what do you mean by an off-brand of M&Ms? Do they even make off-brand M&Ms?" So then they're like, "I'm not really sure. It just looked weird. The wrapper was plain, yellow with brown writing that said M&Ms. Super basic looking, so I just assumed it was an off-brand." And then somebody tags a photo of 1980s M&Ms, and they say, "Oh crap, yes, that is exactly what it looked like." Mm-hmm. And somebody else posted a commercial, and they're like, "Was this the Chet commercial you were talking about?" And he's like, "Yeah, that is exactly what I was talking about."
I wonder, I think the only way, one of the best ways to know if this is real is if you could remember, I mean, he knows the date. If you could find the Weather Channel, like online, because maybe that wasn't recorded to be able to be streamed online. And if it's not, and you got that person's name, like say the anchorman.
Well, hopefully he can go back and get all this information, because I feel like you were like, before you're like, he has too many details or they have too many details. And now you're like, where are all the details?
Well, I'm saying where are all the details now because you play it back. In the moment, you're just tripping out.
Well, this is, I think he wrote this 7 months, or they wrote it 7 months after.
Has this only happened once? Did they say the OP?
They said only once. Nothing's ever happened like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm a believer of everything. So if this happened, that's great. I
think
too that's
am a
cool.
believer.
I think that's really cool, but very. Can you swear on this thing?
Yeah, you can swear.
Okay,
it's fine. Like if it goes like, wow, YouTube doesn't care for the most part. I don't think.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'll
like,
just keep it.
A couple of
PG.
times is fine.
Very.
Whatever's natural,
very
I can
awesome.
always bleep it out.
Beep it out. Yeah, it's very fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
There was another story that I had read with Kelsey, which I always refer back to, where somebody completed a time loop where they were on acid one night and they actually completed their first memory of somebody breaking into their childhood home. And they were the person who broke into their childhood home. But when they were,
Wait,
so I'll give you like the lowdown because I don't want to be too repetitive. But basically what ends up happening is her first, like her earliest memory as a child is a woman basically opening up her door and she's in her crib and a man's behind her and they're like frantically yelling and out of it. And then the parents chase them out of the house. And when they grew up, they had asked about it and their parents said somebody broke in. They were homeless on drugs. We don't know who they were. They were somehow in the house. We chased them out. And then one day she's in a field with her, I think they're camping or something, with her husband and they do a bunch of acid. And she is in the forest and all of a sudden she sees like, I think it's a red door. She walks through it and she realizes she's in a house and she thinks she's just hallucinating. And then she walks into a room and she sees herself. And then it occurs to her that she is the person. Like she was on the other end and her husband is behind her because she's like out of it in this forest. And he's like trying to snap her out of whatever hallucination she's having. And then she goes and starts running to her parents' room to yell, Mom and Dad. And they walk out with a gun to chase them out. And because she's yelling, Mommy, Daddy, they couldn't shoot because they're like, that's somebody's daughter.
Yeah.
And so then she like runs out the front door and she's just in colors, she describes. And then she comes to and she followed up with her mom. And she didn't know the detail about the gun until after the hallucination. And the parents were like, we were going to shoot because we didn't know who they were. And they were yelling, Mommy, Daddy.
Whoa.
And so they didn't shoot because they're like, that's somebody's daughter. We couldn't shoot her.
Yeah.
And thankfully she ran out of the house because we would have had to shoot her and that's someone's daughter.
So that's kind of the cycle of her life. Mm-hmm. In a sense.
She finished the time loop.
Whoa, that is so trippy. Uh-huh. What the hell? Mm-hmm. So the parents know about that now, I guess?
Well, afterwards, she was, people underneath were like, do you ask her to describe the woman? And she was like, I didn't. I also know that memories can shift. And she's like, I also don't want to necessarily, she hasn't told them that she was the one on acid who maybe ran into the house because that would be crazy. Or maybe she has. But she also writes at the bottom, she said her and her husband were trying to get pregnant. And they hadn't been able to, and she was told it was going to be very difficult for her. And then afterwards, she miraculously got pregnant, like immediately after. And she was like, I don't know what drugs do to us, but that was insane. And now I am somehow pregnant, and I think it's related.
What the hell? Uh-huh. I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
I saw a show, I think it's the Hill on Haunting Hill, or the Haunting on the Hill, something like that. I can't remember. It's kind of something like that, where in the beginning, the little girl sleeping on the couch, and she looks up and she sees this like demon.
Oh yeah.
But it turns out later you find out
broken neck lady.
But it's her. She's broken neck lady.
No, she hangs herself. And then she goes through all the moments in her life. She
where it's hanging. That's kind of what it reminded me of. I'm like, that is trippy.
So one of the things I love about reading these stories is like you start to pick up on themes. So there are theories that all time exists simultaneously at the same time. So sometimes the veil might slip and you see the past in the present.
The past and the present of yourself? Or because you're saying all timelines. Oh.
There are theories that all time exists simultaneously. Have you heard this theory?
No.
There's like a theory that time is expressed, I think it's the next dimension is all time existing all at once.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, I think it's like kind of like the universe is in a box, and even though we're going through things linearly, if you pull it up, you could actually jump around time because it exists all at the same time.
Okay.
Probably doing a horrible job at explaining it. But if that is a theory that people have, then it wouldn't be incomprehensible that sometimes your antenna picks up on things that are in the same spot at a different time.
Why has that happened to you?
Never to me.
Well, that you know of.
Maybe
you didn't know how to
I just looked
describe
it up. Well, I feel like sometimes it can happen though, and you wouldn't pick up on it necessarily. You would just kind of shake it off and be like, oh, like whatever.
Yeah, but if you were very in tune with yourself and you're in this a lot, that would be
now I would pick up on it.
Now you'd be like, oh, now I get it.
What would you do?
If that happened, write it down immediately.
But would you be freaked out? Would you be down to explore it? Would you freak out and want to be out of that environment? Or would you be like, I want to explore?
I think like the version of me wants to say I wouldn't freak out just so I don't sound like a big baby. But I probably would freak out to some degree. However, practicing of like you freaking out doesn't help anything.
No, it doesn't.
So you have your freak out quick and you bring it back and like, okay, what is this? And you either want to explore it or you want to say, get me the fuck out immediately.
Kelsey had a good answer when I asked her that question. She was like, I'd have to trust my gut.
Yeah.
She's like, if I didn't feel, so one of her stories was somebody stumbled into a town that didn't fit. They like somehow went through something and like some kind of a wormhole and like found themselves in a weird town. And she's like, if I didn't have a weird gut feeling that I needed to get out of there immediately, I would immediately explore.
Yeah.
She's like, but it would depend on that
Your
gut.
intuition, your feeling, yeah.
Like, because she's like, I'd be scared I'd get stuck. But if intuitively I wasn't worried about that in the moment, she's like, I'd explore.
Yeah. If you feel like there's danger around or something that your body will know, something will make you feel like this is not safe.
Yeah.
Just like in life, it's kind of natural. Yeah, I think that's a great answer. I think it's also situational.
Now I've stolen it from her.
Yeah, no, now I've stolen it from her. So thank you, Kelsey.
So we have in the comments, we have a bunch of people who kind of chime in with their own personal experiences. I like to read these because I find that it gives grounding to the original story because you kind of hear all these people chime in with like their experiences.
Okay.
So one person writes, my grandpa once told me about something that happened to him years ago. He was driving and stopped at a petrol station because he was low on gas. Right away, he noticed the gas pumps looked really, really old. The kind of pumps that you had to crank it with a handle and spin a barrel. He went inside to get help, and when he reached the counter, the man behind it just stood there completely still, staring forward. My grandfather said that he could hear faint whispers coming from him, but he wasn't moving. Then he looked out the window and realized that the weather outside was different than it was before. He panicked, ran out to his car, and sped off. When he finally got to his destination, not far from where that had happened, the man he was meeting mentioned that there hadn't been a gas station there in years. My grandpa swore that it was true. He's a very serious guy, not the type to make this stuff up. I really wish he was still alive so I could ask him more questions about it and record his story.
Bermuda Triangle.
Maybe.
That shit's real, man.
Imagine you get to your destination, somebody's like, yeah, I couldn't find a gas station for several miles. And you're like, I just came from one. And it was old. And there was a man there.
Who was pretty much dead standing there.
I think I would think I accidentally stumbled onto a movie set, but then I'd look around and be like,
that's fair.
There's no one, or like an old movie set, like maybe a deserted one that's like there.
That would be a cool experience, though. I think that sounds, I don't know why. It's something out of a horror movie, but it's also like, you'll never be able to explain that.
No. I mean, people do explain it. It's just nobody would believe you.
No one would believe it, but even you're just like, after the fact, you'd be like, I kind of wish I didn't panic and ran away.
Well, I mean, this grandfather is literally telling everyone the story. This is probably the story that grandpa sits down and tells everyone when he first meets them.
One time, this is what happened.
It's like the story that defines his life in a sense.
Do they say where this happened?
They didn't mention, but we do have more. We do have more people chiming in.
Oh. Okay.
So another commenter writes, an old coworker told me a story about his dad visiting Virginia City, Nevada. He walked into one of the bars and immediately felt that something was off. When he looked up, everyone inside was dressed like it was the 1800s. He freaked out but stayed calm, just slowly backed out of the bar, shook it off, walked back in, and everything was totally normal.
Was he drunk?
That's not even drunk. That's like, you must have been on acid.
Maybe.
Drunk doesn't make you hallucinate the 1800s.
You never know. You could be drunk as well as sleep deprived as well as high
The
on weed.
1800s?
I don't know, man. Maybe people seem crazy or shit, but
I like how he's like, he backed away. He walks in. You just imagine this guy slowly walking.
That's out of a Simpsons episode. He just slowly walks out.
Yeah. Minds
his own business.
What's that mean with like, is it?
It's Homer. Homer goes back into the bush. Goes back. That's exactly what that is. It's perfect.
So somebody else, so there's another commenter, they write, when I was a kid, maybe 5 or 8 years old, I used to visit my grandmother regularly. One day, while exploring the neighborhood with some friends, we came across a business with a window-like setup, almost like a concession stand. They were selling Tootsie Rolls for a penny. We pulled some change, bought candy, and went about our day. The next day, we went back with more pennies. But the place was different. Now it was fully closed, the windows were boarded up, and it was clearly not in business. As a kid, I didn't think much about it. But reading these stories brought back that memory like a flash. I'm writing it down now in hopes that more of the information will return to me.
I think I slightly got lost in that. I don't know why. I just remember Tootsie Roll and a penny.
They were walking by and there was a little stand, like a little window shop.
Okay.
And the person was selling Tootsie Rolls for a penny, which who does that?
No one does that.
Yeah. And so they grabbed some change and like they bought a bunch of Tootsie Rolls. And then they went back the next day with pennies and there was nothing there. It was a boarded up shop.
And this was where? Did they say?
And they did not say.
I feel like all this just happens in America.
It does. I actually feel like in countries with cultures that like believe in more of this stuff, I feel like it happens more often. So I feel like in India and stuff, there's like more stories of people remembering past lives and like the metaphysical. Like I feel like it happens, it's more socially, culturally accepted there. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it's actually happens more there. People on Reddit are just from the States.
Yeah, okay, that's probably what it is. When did you start looking into this stuff on Reddit? I don't even use Reddit. Like, I looked up Reddit for the first time like 2 weeks ago because my friend
I love Reddit.
Was talking about something like this. She feels like there is some sort of sorcery happening in her house.
Sorry, what? You have to back. Who is this? Well, you have to give me a name. But
I don't want to say her name. She's a really good friend of mine.
What do you mean by sorcery in her house?
She has an aunt, or she had an aunt who was big into black magic. And she did a lot of witch stuff, and she feels, my friend feels like this has kind of followed her through her life. And she's had some incidences where her partner doesn't believe her, even though it's so evident that it's happened. So I'll give you an example. She's a photographer, and she did a shoot. She came home. She put in the SD cards. All the photos were there. She left. She came back, and the photos were gone. She's like, no, like this was here. SD card's gone. She can't find it. She put in every single SD card she had for about 20 minutes. Nothing was there. She went to go call her partner in panic, trying to explain this. And her partner picked one up, put it in. She's like, it's right here. And she's like, no, I just did that. It's not, I'm telling you that wasn't there. And then
that is crazy.
Something happened when I was there. I stayed at her house. Mm-hmm. So they went to go to a wedding. And as she was packing in the morning, she packed all of her stuff. We were in the bathroom, and the bathroom sink countertop is empty. I remember this vividly because only my stuff was here. Her stuff was all packed. I physically handed her this thing. She put it in her bag and she left. A couple hours later, she FaceTimes me and she says, I can't find this thing. It's like coconut oil. Like, have you seen it? And I'm looking around. I'm like, I don't see anything. It's whatever. I go into the bathroom and I'm like, you talking about this thing? She's like, I packed that. That was not there. And I was in live action.
God.
Her partner's like, well, no, you obviously forgot it. You forgot it. I'm like, no, I swear to God, that was not there.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And she's like, and then her partner finally believed it. And
so does she think that her grandmother is screwing with her?
I don't know if it's a grandmother. I don't know that many details. She just stays away from that.
Maybe like there's like a veil, or maybe because her grandmother is spiritual, there's kind of an access point of what would be the word? Like maybe her grandmother was in tune and so was she. Yeah. And so maybe there are sometimes things that can interact with her because like maybe it's just like her maybe having more psychic, or I don't know.
Maybe. I know there's a lot more situations that are far more in great detail that I don't have that she's explained to me, and I'm like, that.
I believe her.
I believe her too. Yeah. So anyway, the point of that Reddit thing was that she explained something to me, and I looked up on Reddit, and I can't remember what I looked up, and I'm like, oh, this is crazy. I didn't know this was a thing because I was reading about somebody talking about lying in bed with her husband watching TV. And she always has the remote there. She goes to bed, and the remote's completely gone. I don't know. She wakes up, the remote's completely gone. They're both tripping out. And then 2 days later, the remote's sitting on the bed. And they're like, what is happening? So there's just things like that.
I think there's a story here that is going to interest you because it kind of has to do with that.
Okay.
Yeah, it is the next one.
Okay.
So it's actually, sometimes I find it so... what's the word? Serendipitous or synchronistic when it keeps happening where I prep stories and then somebody gives me like a topic and it's literally the next story.
We're living in it, man. I'm telling you. Mm-hmm. It's connected.
This story is called I call it The Case of the Missing Pizza Rolls.
Okay. What a title.
7 months old. There was a long title that was a question and I changed. I like to call it The Case of the Missing Pizza Rolls.
I like it better. Mm-hmm. It sounds delicious.
7 months old. It's from r/glitch in the matrix. OP writes, I just experienced my clearest glitch in the matrix, and my kiddo did too. We're both still so confused. So here's what happened. My husband made pizza rolls for our kids. I put them out of the oven, then put 10 on each plate, and walked one over to my daughter, who's 6. She's autistic, which only matters here because of how she reacted. And she was excitedly bouncing up at the table as I walked up, excited for the 10 pizza rolls. I tripped slightly. 2 pizza rolls fell off the plate, right towards her. She reached up to catch them, and then they just vanished, right in front of both of us. Not blink and you miss it. Our eyes were wide open, and they disappeared almost like a magic trick. I thought maybe they hadn't fallen off after all, and we just panicked. But nope, only 8 pizza rolls were left on the plate. They definitely fell. We stared at each in in stunned silence. Then she said, "What?" I was speechless too. We checked under the table, all around the room. I even called the dogs in, hoping they'd sniff them out. Nothing. And the dogs weren't even interested. If food hit that floor, they would have found it within seconds. They're just gone. My daughter was so mad, I made her a couple of extra rolls to make up for it. But honestly, what happened still doesn't make any sense. I've never seen anything like this happen in front of my eyes before. And the fact that she saw it too, it's not something that I can just brush off. It's been 20 minutes, and my daughter is still combing the room looking for them, asking for an explanation, and I don't have one.
So the 2 pizza rolls vanished?
They vanished. Apparently, they fell off the plate and just started rolling, and in front of both their eyes just disappeared like a magic trick.
Well, that's...
And the daughter is currently like reacting. She said autistic only in the context of the story. Her daughter saw it too and is like fixating, trying to pull apart all the furniture, trying to find these pizza rolls.
Yeah.
And they're nowhere.
What if they just show up in their bed?
So apparently things go missing and come out. I mean,
Yeah.
I am convinced that things go missing all the time. And I'm like, I know for sure that it's missing and like I know where I put it. And then the next like week it'll be in the place that I know I put it, that I know I checked.
That's happening to me now.
With what?
My chapstick. And I'm good at not losing
Chapsticks always
things.
go missing.
I know, but
it's like one of those staples that like always goes missing.
I know I put it right on that counter beside something else. Mm-hmm. Took a shower, came back, and that thing has been gone for 2 days, and I'm upset because it was my favorite one. And I'm like, is it going to show up? I don't know. I don't have chapstick now. My lips hurt. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's happening. It's happening.
I feel like I feel like it's probably the same place that all the missing socks go.
Yeah.
But apparently those are actually in the washing machine.
What do you mean?
Apparently I did see that somewhere that like somebody opened up like their washing machine, the back end, and like there were a bunch of socks.
How does that happen?
I don't know. Everyone's like, we thought it was a dryer, but it turns out it's the washing machine. But I feel like, sorry, back to lost track of what I was saying. I do feel like things go, I do believe that. Like I do think things go missing and then turn up randomly. Mm-hmm. But they saw it happen. Like her and her daughter saw it disappear, both of them.
I would love for them to describe how it disappeared. Was it a slow fade? Was it like a...
They said like a magic trick. It was just gone.
That's... I don't even know. If I saw that, I'm like, what? Did I hallucinate that? Like, is that real? But...
Yeah. And she's like, I know how many he made. I know how many he made per kid. I counted them out for each kid. Like, I especially love these little mundane ones where, like, it's so inconspicuous in a sense, but the person is so sure that they counted, like your friend in that moment.
Yeah.
She's so sure you saw her put the coconut oil in the bag and you were there. There's, like, those random little moments that are, like, they're the ones that I love the most because they're so frequent, I feel, and people don't even realize they dismiss them. And, like, then somebody comes along and they're like, no. I am sure that this happened.
This reminded me. I was pretty big into this. I was listening to a podcast. The same friend got me into podcasts about like extraterrestrials.
Oh my God, I love that too.
And like just stories like this. And there was one where these mother and daughter, I think it was in Norway. Long story short, the daughter had 4 dots on her head, on her face when she was born. And later on in life, her other friend that she met also had the exact same 4 dots, and they weren't certain why. And they started to experience things where chairs would start moving, and in the reflection of the mirror, you could see something, but you don't know what it was. Cell phones would start talking, like Siri would start talking to you, saying specific things.
That's cool.
And it went on for 20 to 30 years. And like at one point where somebody was texting the phone, but it wasn't from anybody, giving directions as to where they should go. It was like, go into the river behind the house, and then they felt something and they tripped out and they came back. It was just like this long extraterrestrial story that no one could explain.
I believe in a lot of that. I do believe in entities. Like I do think that they exist. Also based on everything I've read. But the problem is if you're in tune with them, like you don't know how to handle it. I do think that there's good and bad entities.
Yeah.
And so like you don't know which one's communicating with you at a given time. Like if she's a medium and she can communicate with, let's say, you know, the people who have passed or people who aren't quite here. And I do believe in mediums. I think that there are good ones and bad ones. But she can have a ghost that has negative intentions who will be reaching out to her, telling her to do stuff one day, and then one with positive intentions.
Yeah.
And if you're not careful and you just think it's one thing, I think it could be multiple entities. Like it could be multiple different people communicating with her, and some might have really valuable information and others might want to cause her harm.
I've never experienced that. I have 2 memories as a kid that are like burned into my skull. I can't remember how old I was. I think I was grade 9 for one of them, and then grade like 10 or 11 for the second one. So the first one is my parents. So I'm from like a small town, Wasaga. My parents would always go to Toronto for like parties or whatever. And I remember staying at home by myself, downstairs on the couch watching TV. And my parents were very like nervous. They would always keep like wood in the window so nobody could break it. Like if you open the window, it doesn't slide. And upstairs in my brother's room, I heard something. So I paused it. I go upstairs. This is an older house, mind you, so you sometimes hear creaks and like it's totally normal.
Maybe it's because there are ghosts there from past. Maybe that has more history.
Well,
old houses.
I'll tell you a couple really weird things in that house. But I went upstairs and the wood was off, and I'm like, oh, maybe we forgot. And my parents are so like alarm crazy. They need to do all these things. And then I'm like, okay, sure. So I put the wood on. I go back downstairs. I continue doing what I'm doing, and I hear something again. And I go upstairs. The wood's off again. And that's when I panic. And that's when
I'd be so creeped out.
That's when I'm not feeling too hot and heavy. And I'm like, what is this? What's going on? Like, I know I did this. But nothing else happened after that. And then I'll tell you the next story, then I'll go back when I first moved in this house as a kid.
The person was just like screwing, well, the person, the entity, the ghost, whatever it was, just kept pushing.
Just kept moving. So it was, picture like a piece of wood, the length of that, and it was on the bed.
It's like a stopper in a sense. Like it's meant to be like, it's meant to hold it shut so you can't
slide it open.
Yeah,
But that was placed on the bed.
So it wasn't just that it was kicked off, it was moved.
It was moved.
Oh, that's so creepy.
Yeah, it was moved.
So creepy. Imagine if your parents like did that on purpose to like screw with you while they were away. They're like, let's watch them. Like, let's watch them freak out.
I wish my parents were that fun. No, I'm kidding. No, another time though, this was one of those things that I was like, nobody believes me.
I believe
And it's not even that crazy. I'm in bed late at night. Mm-hmm. I'm laying in my bed and my door is there, and it's probably where that TV is. And I have this metal sign, like duct tape or two-sided tape on the wooden door. Okay? Mm-hmm. It's not going anywhere. And I'm laying there, and all of a sudden it gets thrown at me. Swear to God, it gets thrown at me off the door.
Wait, the metal thing?
The metal thing, the sign gets thrown at me beside my head. I panic. I go under my sheets. I don't know what to do. I sleep. I wake up. I'm like, that was a dream. I wake up and the sign is on the floor. So it actually happened.
That is so creepy.
That was the creepiest thing. And it never happened since. I was like, what is happening? And that
is very creepy.
I was always afraid of the attic. I've been in that house 25 years. Mm-hmm. I've never looked upstairs in the attic. Ever. Never even peeked. Nothing. I won't do it.
But also, like, it's a metal sign. How big was the sign?
Maybe like
it couldn't have been like an animal. Like it couldn't have been like
no,
it had to have like been removed.
It would be removed and thrown. It was stuck on that door. Yeah. Now here's the
That
first
would
memory
creep me out so much.
I have of my house when we first bought it. I was younger. I think I was in like grade 3. And we have this like storage room. Now it's a storage room, but at the time I can't remember what it was. And you walk into this storage room and there's another white door and you open the door and all we saw was a giant cross in the dirt.
Sorry, wait, what?
Yeah, this is a weird thing. This house was like super old and we renovated it.
Did you look up what was there before?
I was too young. I didn't even think about it.
We should look it up. Are you still there? I don't know.
I'm still there. Yeah, we still live there, but everything's been renovated. It's all like, it's been blessed. The house is nice now.
I have a friend who, his mom, we were sitting downstairs and like, this is before like I really, was exploring all this stuff. And she's like, yeah, we have a ghost. I was like, what? She's like, we have a ghost. I've named it. Like, we have a ghost. We've had it the whole time. At first I was scared of it. Now I'm not scared of her because she's actually helped me a couple of times. And I'm like, this is like also, I think I was like in undergrad. It's like, it was way before. She like casually dropped it. We were friendly. I like love his mom. His mom is wonderful. And she's like, no. Like I like literally brought in a medium who spoke to her. We went and looked it up afterwards. Turns out that there was somebody with that name buried on the ground of where their house is built. From like, and they had a medium and it was the same person. She's like, yeah, we have a ghost. It's a friendly ghost. I'm like, wait. What do you mean?
But did that person used to live in that house?
Yeah.
Like
or was
ghost?
buried on like,
Oh.
I think they said it was a burial ground for like an Aboriginal tribe or something. So when they looked up afterwards, like that name went with, it was like a burial site or something.
That's creepy.
Yeah. She just casually dropped. She's like, oh, that's probably just the ghost. I'm like, what?
So did you get to experience the ghost?
I did not. I don't remember what it was that happened. And she's like, yeah, she's always around. I think she said like once she helped when she was a new mom. She's like, once the ghost like helped me with something. So like, I trust her now. I'm like,
But what did she help her with?
I don't remember the story exactly. I wish I did. This is like, it must have been like 18, 19 at the time when we were talking about this. It's a long time ago. And I just remember at the time, like I that's before like I believed in any of this. And I remember being like, oh, his mom has lost her goddamn mind.
Yeah, but she hasn't, right?
No, she's like, now I believe her. Now I'm like,
Okay.
now I'm with it. You asked me before, like what prompted me to start looking into all this.
Yeah.
And the answer is that car accident that I had. Where like, I'm convinced that I died.
It's quite possible.
No, I think I did. Like I remember dying, which was weird. I remembered a different accent than the one that I woke up in.
Oh.
So like the accent that I remembered, and so I don't know if I've ever told you this story. It isn't. It's basically I was driving up north to Kelsey's cottage. She had rented out a cottage for her birthday, and I don't know why I just like felt so weird about the drive. I was supposed to have my dogs in the car. I dropped them off at my parents' house that morning. I was like, I just don't want anyone in my car. I called and asked if anyone had room in their car for me because I didn't want to drive. And nobody did, but Divya, who actually was, who I recorded an episode with too, so she'll be on here. She offered to come with me, and I'm like, I don't want you in my car. I have a weird feeling. And I remember I got to the intersection. It was like one of these back country roads that's like hidden. And I was slowing down to make the turn. And for some reason, all I remember is, and it was like very tight, the turn, and it was like a drop. And as I'm slowing down to take the turn, I just remember checking my rearview mirror, and the car behind me thought I was going too slow. And I think I had my blinker on, but maybe he didn't notice. And he was trying to take me over from the left because he wasn't paying attention to the fact that I was going slow. You know, up north, people like to go real fast.
Yeah.
So I was slowing down to take this turn, and he was getting annoyed trying to take me over from the left. And the accident that I remember is I was already starting to make the turn. He had started going into the left lane and clipped me. And I just remember leaving my body, hearing the whole accident, being in white. Like I remember, even though I wasn't in my body, that the car rolled and then we hit another car. And he also hit, like it was him, the car, and it was like a red car. It was the car behind me that clipped me that caused me to roll. Then I rolled into a car in oncoming traffic. And then it floating in white. And then I remember thinking, oh God, I should have said bye. I knew that this was going to happen. I'm really sad that I didn't tell anyone goodbye. And then I heard ringing in my ears, and then I just dropped, and I was in a different accident. I had just somehow, I guess, taken the turn too fast, or, you know, I'm not sure how my tire got like stuck on the gravel, and I dropped 10 feet, landed perfectly in between 5 trees, and didn't roll. My car was like perfectly placed in between a bunch of trees and dropped. Like if I had taken the turn a little bit faster or a little bit slower, I would have hit a tree. And I somehow had a tree in front of me that I didn't go into. And I somehow didn't roll even though I dropped.
So your car, did it get air? I'm confused. Or you just
the accident that I woke up in, my car was just perfectly placed in between a bunch of trees and it dropped 10 feet.
Wow.
And I called the ambulance. I was freaked out.
Oh, so you weren't injured at all?
So that was the weird part. I didn't have any bruises, even though every airbag went off. Have you seen an airbag bruise? The ambulance was like, I was like, I'm going to go home. Like, my brother's going to come pick me up. And they were like, go buy a lottery ticket. We have no idea how. They thought I was in shock and they were like checking my body. And they're like, we have no idea how I was wearing my seatbelt. Otherwise, my head would have.
Yeah.
And no seatbelt bruise. The only thing I had was some whiplash from the immediate drop.
Yeah.
So even the cop, when he came to like take my statement, because I called everyone, I was like, I was scared, I guess, or sketched out. But I kept saying to the cop, I don't understand what happened because I don't remember this accident. I remember something else. And I kept saying that to him. I'm like, I remember a red car hitting me. I remember rolling. I can't explain to you how I got here. And the cop was like, you must have avoided that accident.
Wait, hold on. So there wasn't another car?
No, so I woke up in a different accident. There was no, I had somehow gone off the edge and was landed perfectly in between all these trees.
Oh, I thought.
No other car. The accident.
But you thought you saw a car take you, you get hit.
I remembered an accident.
And there was nobody else there to see this?
When I did go off the edge, a red car did circle back and yelled, you good? And I was like, yeah, I'm okay. And then he just drove off, which was also kind of, I think he was going very fast. And I think I think he still was. He drove very fast away and like didn't check. I'm like, I think that was a part of it. I think I was, so I believe we jumped timelines. And I think I probably woke up in the timeline where I was able to avoid him hitting me.
Oh, that's.
Yeah. I woke up where like my car was like, that's the timeline that I woke up in, not the one that he hit me.
That's interesting.
Trauma can be dealt with in so many different ways. And like, if I had just blacked out, I'd be like, okay, maybe it's a concussion. But I had a memory that didn't happen.
Could it be?
I even remember when I was floating in the white being like, shit, I should have told everyone bye. I knew that this was coming.
Could it be like a daydream? Like while you're going through that accident, your brain made you think of something else.
But like even the fact that I didn't want anyone in my car, even the fact that like I called and asked if anyone had room for me, Divya offered to come in the car. She's like, don't drive alone. But that wasn't the issue. I didn't want. I had a car. I was like, I didn't want anyone in my car.
That's actually that's strange. Mm-hmm. Did you talk to anybody about that?
Yeah, of course.
But like a median or whatever?
I did go to like a psychic.
Yeah, I've never done that. I've always wanted to. I
did that. They told me that I was protected and it was a crossroads and I did die. So there's two sort of overarching theories that can be true. So one is in many worlds theory, you jump and all realities exist. But then in simulation theory, you technically only have to render what you're existing in. Mm-hmm. So in simulation theory, you can just be picked up like almost like a character in like Mario Kart when you go off the edge and just placed where you survive. So in like simulation theory, like you could just rewind if you want to stay here. Yeah. And like the universe will give you the outcome that is possible that you'd survive in. And in many worlds theory, you jump.
Okay, so you saw yourself in one theory and then you got pulled back to the
maybe that's
one theory. That's cool. That's a cool way to.
Or I did die and then they placed me in the version of reality where I survived.
Then you reset. Or
it's just trauma and like that happens. But also no bruises is a weird one.
That I thought was weird. You're getting smoked by airbags and nothing happens.
No bruises.
Yeah,
and I bruise so easily. If I showed you my legs right now, I have bruises from like doing Pilates.
Yeah, and you get smoked in a car or whatever happened and you didn't get a single bruise on you.
So my story is not unique, by the way. That's how it started. I started going through the Reddit threads to see if my experience was unique. And it's not at all. People remember different accidents all the time and then wake up in a version of reality that they survive.
Whoa.
All the time.
I think I always dream. I have dreams of different accidents of me. Mm-hmm. But then I never finish it, obviously, because I panic. But that's like a common theme for me.
I mean, it's possible that those are happening. I read an interesting theory. Somebody was saying that, like, what happens to you in the timeline? Then, like, if a you exists that you're merging with, what happens to that previous, to that person? Because think about it, like, if I did jump timelines, what about the person with the past or the conscious me that existed in this timeline?
Did they die?
Like, what happened to them? And the answer that somebody gave I really liked. It was you merge, and how similar your histories are is how easy the merge is, and you're constantly merging. But if it's a different history, it's harder to merge. So you become like a bit anxious, and like it's tougher to kind of get your bearings, and it can cause a little bit of anxiety until you fully sink. But you sink.
Okay, so hold on. That was a lot of information. So the other version of you would merge.
Yeah.
And the more similar, you said the more similar you are, the easier the merge. Is that what it is? But then I didn't understand, like, so if you aren't as similar, what happens? What's
You
that
get like
explain?
anxiety or depression as you're merging because things don't feel right.
Oh, because you feel off.
And you can't explain why, but there's like a level of being uncomfortable but not fully understanding why. And that was a theory, and I liked that theory. I thought it was cool.
That is cool. What the hell?
And it's like you like start to talk to people and they're like, you believe me? Like I like when you start to tell people stories and you're like, no, I remember it differently. It's literally because actually there's two versions of you that are merging. And when things like that come up, you don't know which past you're actually, which version.
Yeah. Wow, that's cool. See, all these things that are going to be in my head. Because I'm going to dive into it because I love psychological films. I love this topic of discussion just because it's no one really knows.
So there are, so going back to the story of the pizza rolls.
Yeah.
Because we do want to, I'm loving the conversation, but we got to make sure we, I would just realize I was like, I better direct the conversation back to the stories at some
Bring it back.
so we do have a commenter who writes, think about the people who suddenly had 2 pizza rolls drop on their kitchen floor out of thin air. I bet they're even more freaked out than you are.
But do you think they ate the pizza rolls?
I guess to go somewhere. I mean, if it's simulation theory, it could go nowhere, but in many worlds theory, it went somewhere. So it depends on which one it is.
Or a spirit ate them.
Maybe, honestly, maybe.
Like
maybe.
It disappears because...
They're like, oh my God, pizza rolls, haven't eaten anything good in so long.
Yeah, like it's quite a possibility.
Somebody else actually chimes in with a theory. So they say that on some esoteric corners of the internet, people with autism say that they may have PSI abilities. Maybe she blipped them out of thin air.
PSI?
So I think that that's like psychic abilities.
So some people who are autistic have that sort of ability?
So there is a belief. Have you heard of the telepathy tapes?
Telepathy tapes?
Yeah.
No.
I haven't watched it yet, but I should. It's a podcast, and I think a part of it's like people who are nonverbal, they think actually can communicate telepathically, like nonverbal kids with autism.
Okay.
But they were running tests and stuff to see if they could telepathically communicate. But like there are some corners of the internet that believe that people with different, people who have different, what's the word that they use for that? Neurodivergent.
Neurodivergent.
Yes.
Okay.
There are corners of the internet that think that people who have different wired brains actually can do other things.
Yeah,
that,
I can see that.
Like the neurodivergent people actually are more in tune with the psychic world.
Okay. I can see that. I can believe that.
Yeah. The OP, they go into it here. They go into it back and forth. We don't have to go too into it, but she says that she has ADHD and that when she was young, she would see people's auras.
This is the daughter?
This is the mom. So she was saying, if anything, it happens in front of me and like less with my daughter, but I have ADD, not autism or ADHD.
Yeah.
And then the person writes, actually, people with ADHD are considered also to be people who could have.
And we're back.
And we are back. We have refilled our drinks.
Okay, let's do the next Reddit. That sounded like a porn star saying that.
I mean, kind of. So this is what I mean. This is so much fun. I love when people give their personal stories because you said that you have dreams of dying.
Yeah, vivid dreams.
Guess what our next story is?
Dying in dreams.
Well, there's actually really cool exchanges in the comments for this one that I think you're going to appreciate, but we'll start off with the story that's all under.
Okay.
So this one was posted 2 months ago, also an r/glitch in the Matrix, and it's titled, I Watched Myself Die from the Corner of the Room.
Okay, that's scary. That's already giving me chills. Okay.
So OP writes, this happened last year, but it still messes with my head. I was in the hospital after a routine surgery, nothing major, just getting my gallbladder removed. Everything was supposed to be smooth. I woke up in recovery feeling absolutely okay, but an hour later I suddenly felt cold, dizzy, and like my heart was pounding out of my chest. I told the nurse that something felt wrong, and that's the last thing I remember from inside of my body. The next thing I remember, I was watching the whole thing from the corner of the room. I could see myself lying in the bed, pale as hell. Nurses rush in, alarms were going off. One of them was doing chest compressions. Another was calling for a crash cart. I remember thinking, holy shit, I'm dying. But I didn't feel panic. I felt weirdly calm and detached. Like that wasn't really me down there. That was just a shell. I could hear them shouting numbers, calling my name. Someone even yelled, we're losing him. But I just watched. I looked down at my arms and I realized I didn't have any arms. Not physical ones, at least. I was just floating awareness. It felt like it was a dream, but sharper, clearer, more vivid than anything I've ever experienced in my entire life. Then it got even weirder. I felt a pull, not like somebody grabbing me, but like gravity had shifted in that moment, pulling me upwards. I didn't know where I was going, but I was going somewhere. And just before it happened, I heard a voice in my head, totally calm, said, not yet. Next thing I knew, I jolted awake. There was a mask on my face. I was gasping, like I had been underwater. My chest hurt like hell from the compressions. They told me I flatlined, heart stopped, almost 2 minutes, but somehow I came back. I didn't tell anyone what I saw, not at first, but I'll say this. I was more alive during those 2 minutes than I had ever felt in my entire life. And wherever I was, whatever I was, it wasn't nothing. It wasn't a dream. I know what I saw.
Out-of-body experience.
But watching, but not just, I mean, I believe in astral projection. I'm like a firm believer. I mean, I always say the CIA literally has a group of people who do that for them. Or is it the army? But yeah, full out-of-body experience, fully watching yourself, but also just floating awareness. But they were able to see as floating awareness with no body, no shape, just there.
Yeah, the no body, no shape was, I guess, if that ever happens to me, I'll be aware to look to see if I have a body. But in the moment, you don't really think about that.
No,
I haven't had something like that. I've had out-of-body experiences where you're...
Wait, you had an out-of-body experience?
Oh, yeah, a few.
Wait, what? How do we not start there?
Well, I don't know. I just, like, you forget about these things, right? Because, like, they just happen. And
I would
like,
not forget about astral projecting.
I don't know if that's what that was because it's a weird thing. And most of the time it's happened in my parents' house. In that friggin' room, man. I'm telling you.
Can I come over?
I don't, like, yeah, just...
Have you ever saged it?
No.
You probably should, based on everything you're telling me. Just better safe than sorry.
My mom has her own type of blessing of the home, and like the home feels comfortable now. It feels safe. I would say that, but
whatever it was, they've like moved on.
I think so.
Okay.
And it wasn't ever really like a bad thing. Like when I felt this, like when I was in bed and your body, you can't move.
Oh, you're talking about sleep paralysis. I get that all the time.
But that wasn't it. That was like a part of it because I looked into it. And the thing is, when I saw me, I wasn't there. I was out somewhere else. So it's kind of what you were describing.
You were seeing yourself from
a different angle.
So it was you couldn't move your body, but you weren't in your body.
But I wasn't in my body.
But like you could see your surroundings.
But it was also still very blurry.
Ugh, I'm trying to train myself to do that.
This was not something I wanted to do. This was just me
trying to...
It's so
fun. You can go anywhere when you... I do special tapes to try to teach me how to do it.
And people do it and they teach you?
Yeah. There's like the gateway tapes. I'll send them to you. I feel like that's like the thing that I like at the end. I'm like, everybody should do these tapes. Do you meditate at all?
Yeah, but that's like there's so many different forms of meditation. So I don't know what you're talking about. If I'm sitting there quietly and I'm breathing, sure, that's one form. But to me, meditation is stillness and just being in your thoughts, and if your thoughts go away, just coming back to where your present moment is.
So that is one take, but actually my understanding, I guess more so, is the goal of meditation is to basically get to this place where your consciousness is outside of your body, or like, so in these tapes, they use frequencies to get the left and right side of your brain working together to cause your body to vibrate, to try to get you to different levels of consciousness. But my meditations are not relaxing. I mean, they feel great, but like I see things. I see stars, I see indigo swirls, I see tunnels, I see figures with lights around them, and I can't see in my brain. I have aphantasia, so like when I close my eyes, I see the back of my eyelids.
Wait, what's aphantasia? What is that?
So what happens when you close your eyes, can you see in your brain?
Can I see in my brain? No, I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think so. When I close my eyes,
Let me do the
no.
test on you, okay? Close your eyes. I'm going to say picture an apple.
Okay.
Do you see an apple?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can see in your brain. What kind of apple do you see?
It was a red apple. But I thought you said, hold on. The way you said that, I thought you meant like,
When I close
can
my
I see my brain? I was like, what? No, I don't get that.
brain.
Can I see? Yeah, like I project. I can see things. It's not just black.
I do understand what you're saying, and I do understand. I get that.
Yeah.
You are right. I did not. I have to think of a better way of phrasing that. I see the back of my eyelids.
It's just darkness.
Darkness. All I see is black. It took me a long time to realize that imagination is because there's an image. Photographic memory is because people see, they can recall photos, or not just like seeing, they can go back and they see it. No, I see the back of my eyelids. So when I meditate and I see things, I'm like, that shit's there.
Yeah.
I can't, like I wouldn't be able to manipulate that image if I wanted to. Like I can't see in my brain.
So you're tapping into something when you're meditating.
Yeah. Kelsey tried them for the first time and she's like, I was just floating.
This was the astral projection thing?
So Bob Monroe, basically, he's the guy who trained Joe Montgomery, the guy who the CIA built, or is it the CIA or the Army built Stargate around? Because he had an out-of-body experience. Then they brought in Bob Monroe to train him to do it.
Okay.
And he was the Army's first psychic. All of this is declassified. You can literally, he has a podcast. Like you can, it's all in front of you.
Okay, didn't know that.
It's really cool. But the Bob Monroe tapes are basically he, in all of his adventures of going outside of his body and studying it, he learned that you can use frequencies to push your, like to basically get you there faster. So there's also a guy named Tom Campbell who has his own tapes and they kind of work together, but they're one's guided, one's not. But he has like also mapped out different planes of existence that he's visited because he's gone places.
What do you mean?
Yeah. There's like places that he specifically talks about. So I'm going to backtrack for a second. There's different focus levels and you do different things in them. So when you're in a certain focus level, if you pattern, he calls it, but that's manifesting in a very specific focus level, you're more likely to get it. And if you ask a question in a different focus level, like there's levels to it and they feel different. So if I've noticed the difference when I meditate in the different levels.
I'd have to watch that.
It's so cool.
I'd have to really understand this.
Like one, you kind of leave your body. The other one, you leave your body and then you expand. And the other one, time doesn't exist in. So all of a sudden you just exist and there's no time. And those are like the three ones that I've been to. And in one of them, you can speak to dead people apparently, but I haven't gone that far. That scares me.
That would scare me a little bit.
But people have like crazy stories on Reddit actually about their experience with it. And it's insane stuff. It's really cool.
But the thing is, if you get to that level, you don't know what you let in.
Well, so he has like methods of trying to protect yourself. So you create like a rebel and then you say a meditation and you don't really know. But the goal, I think it's like one of those things where if you say like only good entities can communicate with me, like when you're in the focus level, he's like, you're pretty protected. He's like, there's an energy bubble that he makes you put around your body. And for the most part, if you do it that way, he's like, you're mostly protected. But sure, yeah, no, for sure, entities can, there are good and bad entities everywhere, for sure.
Yeah.
You have no idea.
No.
I think that sometimes a lot of, schizophrenia and whatnot, there are people who their antenna's a little broken.
Yeah.
Maybe they've done drugs or something, but like their antenna just doesn't work the same way and they can't, I almost feel like what they're seeing might not be real. It might be real in a different layer of reality, but they can't separate it from the one that they're consciously trying to live in.
Yeah, they can't turn it off.
Yeah.
There's no blockage. It's just all one.
And sometimes it can be like one entity or multiple. Like sometimes it can be like something's attached to you almost, I feel. Because they can somehow get through to you because they snuck in.
It's creepy, but cool at the same time.
Wait, so sorry, back to your story. See, then you were in the corner watching yourself?
Yeah, it's always very
And then what's
brief.
the other story? Wait, but then you would love these tapes because he literally has guided meditations to teach yourself how to leave your body intentionally and go back. Like a muscle.
I would watch it because I'm already interested in that, but I never remember these things until like some of these topics come up, but because you just brush them off. You're like, well, that was weird. Like, I don't know what, but I've had that paralysis thing too, where like, because I know sleep paralysis is where you see evil things, I think.
Yeah. Well, it depends. Sometimes I've had multiple versions of it. I had one where an entity was like literally attacking me and choking me. And my hair clip was broken the next morning, which really sketched me out because I was wearing a hair clip and that they were like putting pressure on my head and somehow the hair clip was broken.
That's scary. I don't think I've ever had that. I've just had like where you can't move and you try to scream and nothing's.
And you see somebody in your room?
I've had times where I've seen something, but I don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden you can just like get out of it. Yeah. But it hasn't happened often. Uh-huh. It hasn't happened here and I don't want it to.
I would love to learn how to do it. So that guy, Joe Montgomery or whatever his name is, I'll find out what his name is and I'll post it in the video. But he does a whole podcast where he explains it and he was the psychic for the army. And he goes cover to cover about everything that's declassified that he can talk about. He goes into such detail about what they had him map out. And they would have him, which also scares me because I think this is like the 60s that they were doing this. But he describes going to other countries to find equipment and then drawing it out for the army, like what people had in other countries.
Oh, wow.
And he has the photos of it.
So they can use against as defense.
And they were doing this.
This guy's still alive?
I think so. I think what's the other word? It's astral project is when you leave your body, but then there's another one where you can see the past and the present and the future.
I don't know.
What is it? But you can go there. And so that one, he actually saw his own death. So he knows he's going to die this year, I think it is.
What?
Allegedly. He saw his own death.
Did he say how he
I
died?
think it was this year. Apparently he knows how he's going to die.
But he won't share it?
I don't think so.
He saw his own death. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'd want to see that.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's...
But he talks about all the training he did, how it worked, him and Bob Monroe, what they had him do. He has the pictures of what he drew for them. Like literally step by step, what it felt like the first time he intentionally left his body. What it describes like what it looked like. He describes that he could see different lights that you can't see. Like your senses are different when you're out of your body.
So they teach you how to do this?
Yeah, you can do the tapes. I have not left my body, but yes, I would love to.
Have you been close?
I don't know. I definitely had like the shakes where like you start to shake. I mean, Tom Campbell says that some people leave their body, but other people just like are able to do it differently. But I don't know.
Yeah, send me those.
I will.
I want to check them out.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so back to the story about the person watching themselves die in the corner of the room.
Yep.
We do have some comments. And like I said before, there is a really interesting kind of like branch off of somebody telling a story and then a back and forth with another commenter. So for the purposes of like this specific comment thread, I'm going to call the original storyteller OG instead of OP.
Okay.
So OG writes, I experienced something very similar. I had a near-death experience when my heart stopped and I went into complete acute organ failure. I spent 8 days in a coma on ECMO, where I received an emergency transplant. My experience was terrifying. There were moments where I felt like I was in a completely different reality, and honestly, I don't know how to explain it. But what resonated so deeply with me is when you said it was like a dream, but more vivid. At one point, I swear I was watching them operate on me. I knew I was getting a transplant, even though no one ever told me that. The word transplant was never even said to me. My family had to list me the day after I went into the coma. It all happened so fast. I was never even sick before. I remember waking up when I was in the coma and being on a concrete pier. That's the only way I can describe it. It was like this weird, round concrete pillar in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by pitch black sea. I was terrified, but also relieved. It felt like I had escaped something. I thought I was safe. But then there were these people. It felt like it was military or some kind of special agents. There were speedboats, a helicopter overhead, lights flashing down at me. And the last thing they said to me was, "We're not letting you get away that easy." After that, I became aware that I was in a hospital room, but I was still hallucinating. The other stuff, it was nothing like a hallucination. It was the most insane experience of my life, and I remember every single part of it. I could literally write a book about it. I'm coming up to 1 year this May, and honestly, I have really bad PTSD from it, beyond the fear and confusion of what was happening. I will say this, I never felt pain, not once. It was like I had drifted to sleep and my heart stopped.
So that's what this person went through during surgery?
Mm-hmm. So they suddenly fell into a coma.
Okay.
And then they watched themselves basically getting the transplant. And then suddenly they wake up and they're on this like black pillar in the middle of an ocean that's also black. And they're just there. And then they feel relief, like they escaped. And then all of a sudden there are special agents running after them and helicopters and speedboats. And they're yelling at this person, "You're not going to get away that easily." And then they are back in the hospital room, but still hallucinating the whole time that they're in the coma. There's like an overlay of, I guess,
different hallucinations.
Whatever was happening, but they were aware that they were in the hospital bed and what was happening. Like they were there, but also there. They were in both places at once.
Okay, so...
And they say that that place that they were when they woke up in the pillar felt more real than reality.
What does that mean, felt more real? How does something feel more real?
They said that's the line that resonated with them from their story, that they feel was true in their experience. When they were dead is when they woke up on the pillar, and then I guess when they were in the coma and the transplant was when they were in the hospital bed. I think they said they flatlined for 2 minutes or something.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually they woke up after...
So a commenter had responded to OG asking if this is what they experienced while they were in the coma. To answer your question, OG responds saying, "The part where I felt like I was walking around in a very vivid dream, like being out in the ocean and then being saved, that happened right at the beginning. I believe that's when my heart stopped. Once they got me back and stabilized, and while I was in the coma, I did have a sense that I was stuck in a hospital bed, especially towards the end. I know I'm not explaining this well, but I can't be 100% sure of the timeline, since I was unconscious during all of it. While I was in the coma, I genuinely believed that I'd been kidnapped and taken to World War II era Japan to have my organs harvested. I had no idea why. I had zero connection to Japan, no particular interest in it, nothing. When I finally came out of the coma, the nurses asked me if I knew who I was, and I answered with a city name in Japan that I couldn't even remember how to pronounce now. My family was there when it happened, and they told me, "No, you're in a hospital bed." I looked at the nurse and actually asked, "Why did they fly me back here?"
So she thought she was in Japan? What? Mm-hmm. But she doesn't even know what the place was that she said?
No, they have no idea where they were. Like in the moment, they thought because people were talking about a transplant, they thought that they were kidnapped and being chased to have their organs harvested because they understood that there was a kidney transplant happening.
Okay.
But they didn't know it was because they were sick. They were terrified and they thought that they were being harvested.
That's trippy.
Mm-hmm. Another person says that they're horrified and then asks them who the cops were. And then OG responds saying, "I have no clue. One moment I was completely alone, and the next there were these men in all black tactical gear swarming me. There was only one woman I ever saw, and I was absolutely terrified of her. In my head, she was my captor. When I first started to come out of the coma, I actually kicked my partner out of the room. I had completely lost it. I accused him of being a lizard person, sent to impersonate my loved ones and trick me into compliance. I was so convinced it was real. I kept seeing this strange black collar around his neck and thought that that allowed him to transform from person to person. It sounds insane. I know it sounds insane. It took me a really long time to start separating what was real from what I had lived in my mind. And honestly, I'm leaving out a lot of details because it's just a lot. I'm seriously considering writing my entire experience down as a kind of therapy because it messed with my head so badly. I've only just started opening up to doctors about it. In the beginning, I was terrified of them. I was 100% convinced I had been kidnapped for some twisted testing, so I acted overly cooperative, trying to tell them whatever they wanted to hear just so I could get the hell out of the hospital, or at least out of the ICU.
That the thing about the collar and like he's a lizard person, he could just change. It's what the hell?
And so someone asks in response to that, what did this woman look like? What behaviors did she have? Or what actions did she take? And OG responds, she was beautiful, but in this really cunning, vicious way. Dark hair, so dark it was almost black with a red tint. She had this commanding presence, like an authority figure. And she was a reoccurring character throughout the entire experience. I really didn't like her. So that commenter in the same thread responds, I'm asking because in all of my dreams involving tactical teams coming after me, there is only ever one woman in it. I call her the Syringe Lady because she was attempting some kind of biological attack on me. When I had a direct physical encounter with her, it turned into a full-on fight, me doing everything I could to avoid being jabbed with whatever she had in that syringe. She wasn't old, but her exact age is hard to place, maybe early 20s, but there was a maturity about her. She was probably closer to the mid to late 30s, pale skin, possibly Caucasian. Not ghostly pale, but definitely light-skinned. Long, straight, nearly black hair, with the ends flipped up to the side, brushing just over the tops of her shoulders. I don't remember seeing her eyes. She might have been wearing sunglasses, but she was attractive in this cold, hard-edged kind of way. She definitely held authority. I couldn't tell you what kind of entity or structure she was a part of. It always was some kind of paramilitary force in the dreams, but she was clearly in charge of those teams. Even before anything ever happened, just seeing her made me feel unsettled. Then things escalate, she attacks, and to this day, she remains the most terrifying figure I've ever encountered in a dream. I never want to meet her again. I just sat down and wrote everything out in detail for the first time. So now OG responds to this comment. You just described this woman exactly. I'm not even kidding. For whatever reason, I can't remember her facial details either. I just have this weird sense of knowing. Sometimes I honestly can't even tell you whether I hated her or loved her or both all at once. Her presence evoked something beyond anything I can explain. But the way you described her, it completely lines up with my experience. Previously, I would call her nurse lady in my stories. I kid you not.
Has anyone, I'm curious if anyone's explained why it's the same person.
I don't know.
Or whatever it is. Because that's very odd. Mm-hmm. The exact same person.
The commenter responds to that saying, I've been thinking about this since yesterday, and last night it hit me. The best way I can describe Syringe Lady is Carmen Sandiego's evil twin in all black instead of red. And then the OG literally responds to this saying, I had the exact same thought yesterday when you asked me to describe her. Carmen Sandiego popped into my head too. I'm not kidding. I don't know exactly what I experienced, but I cannot deny that woman you described sounds exactly like the woman that I saw. And that is absolutely wild.
They describe a cartoon character.
Mm-hmm. I think they might also be describing like in terms of who that character is maybe, or like how they move in the show. I don't know. But they describe the same lady.
Yeah, that's just weird.
One used to call her nurse lady and the other one called her syringe lady. And one experienced it during a coma and the other one just has nightmares about it.
Nightmares.
Yeah, the second person was saying that he has nightmares that remind him of this NDE story. He has like all these crazy nightmares.
I wouldn't want nightmares. If it was a one-time thing?
No, he says he has a reoccurring. He has the same nightmare. I wonder if this lady is like putting us in the simulation. Maybe prison world theory. Have you heard that one?
Prison world theory?
You haven't heard that?
No.
Well, it's like a dark theory. So there's like kind of two schools of thought when it comes to like people describing like, okay, if we are just consciousness and we are having a physical experience, what's the point?
Yeah.
You know, why wouldn't we just exist? Everybody likes being detached from their body. Why wouldn't we just continue that? One school of thought is kind of the journey of the soul's approach to it, which is you're trying to grow. This is kind of our test. We have all these quests and all these things that we're meant to do and all these things that we set out to do. And karma is a real thing because your soul has to learn a lesson so that when you go back up, you're a better soul. The flip side of that is we're being harvested.
We're being harvested.
For our energy. And that when we're here, we're being harvested and it's a prison. That we as souls don't want to be here. But we're forced to be here because some entity, for some reason, is getting some kind of energy from us existing here. And we don't want to.
Then why do we feel happiness?
Well, it might just be, that might be it. That when we feel happy and sad, like it might be an energy thing. Like, and they're recycling souls because it's like a cattle that you can keep them in the same farm, like regenerate them.
That's creepy.
Those are kind of like the two like extremes. One's like, we want to become more like source soul, which is pure. Like we want to become like a better soul. Yeah. And the other side is, no, we don't want to be here.
So which one do you believe more of?
I'm an optimist. I mean, maybe some souls don't want to come back. But sometimes your story is like this, and a part of me is like, I wonder, like kind of like the Matrix-y, you know, like you're being forced biologically to be here. Syringe lady who's attacking you with a syringe.
I wonder if any of those people, let's say Syringe lady, actually got close to attacking, and what that would have, like, did it come to a point?
Well, they woke up. They realized that they were in a hospital bed. So the first one, eventually, when they got to him, he woke up. And the other one just has nightmares, so they wake up after them. But maybe it's a past memory from when they were in the in-between.
Maybe, yeah.
That they're living out in their dreams.
The in-between. Mm-hmm. That's a scary place.
I'm more likely to believe the positive one also because that story, Journey of the Souls, people literally describe the same thing all the time. Yeah. And they describe going to school with their soul family. And they describe having soulmates through multiple incarnations. And like, I don't know, like I like that one.
Yeah, it sounds better. It's obviously not as scary and you can sleep at night, but if there's like a positive, you got to believe the negative too. There's got to be a little bit of both. Mm-hmm. Either way, it's creepy.
We have another commenter with their own story. So somebody else writes, I had a similar experience. I was having an emergency surgery after going septic. At one point, I found myself lying on my back about 3 feet away from my body. But the strange thing is, I didn't recognize that body as my body. I thought it was some other girl being operated on at the same time. And I remember feeling really concerned about her. I was so worried for this other girl, not realizing that she was me. Then I ended up floating near the ceiling in the corner of the room, and I was just waiting, watching, almost like I was waiting to see what would happen to her before I went somewhere. Went where? I have no idea. That's when something really intense happened. Some presence was suddenly standing behind me, strong. They grabbed me, one arm under my arms and the other pressing up against my rib cage, and they shouted directly into my ear, "Up, get up!" And then they yanked me upwards. It hurt like hell. I mean, it felt like I was being crushed and I couldn't breathe. They kept yelling and pulling over and over and over again. And that's when I woke up from surgery. I hurt like I had been dropped off of a building and there was no other girl. I asked about her multiple times and the hospital staff just stared at me like I was crazy. Knowing how my insurance company operates, I wouldn't be surprised if I died in there for a bit and they just didn't disclose it to me afterwards. So I don't know. Maybe I was doing some kind of astral travel, or maybe I really was dead for a while, watching myself, not realizing it was me.
I don't get that insurance thing.
I don't either. I don't live in the States, and I feel like that's a very state-specific thing.
They wouldn't disclose that you have died? What?
I feel like legally you'd have to, but
yeah.
Maybe it was astral travel. It could be. But also then what was that thing telling them to get up, unless it was a doctor?
Yeah, unless it's a voice coming from the actual person talking to the body, saying, wake up, wake up, wake up, or...
But even then it would probably be that they died, because why would they be yelling, wake up, wake up, wake up, unless she flatlined?
Yeah.
Right?
That one's a little confusing, but there's a lot of these, like, out-of-body things, watching your body, and someone's pushing you back in. I don't know.
One of the common themes is people know once they leave their body, they're actually fine with it. Oftentimes they have to be convinced to come back. There are stories of when people try to convince you to come back, they'll show you all the people you're going to impact if you stay and what they will lose if you don't stay. It'll take convincing.
For the spirit to come back? Mm-hmm. But all that happens within a span of...
Apparently, like, there's no real time when you, like, leave the body. That time's not linear. Like when somebody was describing one of the other stories I had read previously, they drowned in a pool, and the 2 minutes that they were out, there was an entire, like, what felt like an entire full day, and they were only out for like a minute. Like time doesn't move.
Interesting.
Or maybe they can put you back in time in a sense.
Yeah, or it's frozen.
Yeah.
There's just so much we don't know.
It's so cool.
That's why it's so trippy. Like this is just nothing.
We have another story here. This story is a glitch that saved my daughter.
A glitch that saved my daughter. Okay.
It's 9 months old, also glitch in the Matrix. They write, "This is a story that made me join the subreddit, and it stayed with me for over 20 years. My daughter is 21 now, but this happened when she was about 2.5. I was in the kitchen, which opened right into the living room. My husband was half asleep on the couch watching TV, and our daughter was toddling around nearby. I just opened the oven door to check on some food and turned to grab the pot holder from a nearby drawer. Then I turned back, my daughter was walking towards me, and then, out of nowhere, she fell forwards, arms outstretched, heading straight for the open oven door. I shrieked, 'Oh God, help,' to my husband, and in that instant, everything slowed down. A flood of images hit me all at once. I saw her land on the burning hot door, screaming. I saw us rushing her to the ER. I saw her bandaged, her hands and face scarred. I saw her growing up with limited mobility, undergoing countless surgeries, our lives being defined by hospitals and pain. I lived those lifetimes in a split second. Then, just as suddenly, I snapped back. My husband looked over at me, irritated, and said, 'What?' Like nothing had happened. And there was our daughter on her hands and knees, completely fine, 3 full feet away from the oven, where she had absolutely not been seconds before. I told him she fell and almost landed on the oven door. He looked at her, looked back at me, and said, 'She's nowhere near the door,' then took a sip of his beer. But I know what I saw, what I felt. It wasn't just panic, it was something else. A glitch, a timeline interruption. I'd never forget it. Years later, I told my daughter about it. She was shocked, said it gave her chills. She told me that she felt deeply unsettled hearing it, like a part of her remembered it as I told it, but she couldn't place it in her memories. She said the whole thing haunts her, as if the other timeline had actually happened, but then somehow didn't. To this day, it remains one of the most defining moments of my life. I've never experienced anything like it since, but I think about it from time to time, and my heart still jumps into my throat remembering it. I'm just incredibly thankful for whatever saved her on that day."
That's crazy. Mm-hmm. I was just like trying to picture the whole thing.
Oven door open, you see it, and like as a mom's instinct, she would not have panicked if she didn't see it.
Yeah.
But then she sees what happens after. She sees
The 20 years or the years of just struggle. And in a split second,
she's back.
How do you even describe that? How do you describe what that is?
And then the daughter literally says, when she tells her about it years later, like many, many years later, talks about the story about how she thought she jumped, like fell into the oven. She feels, oh my God, that happened to me.
Like
She's like, I remember. She's like, that story like sits with me in a way that like what you are telling me, I feel happened, but it didn't.
But she was 2.
Yeah, but like she's like, when she was telling her, like she remembers, like she had a flash of whatever. The daughter's like, I feel like that happened, but it didn't happen.
Or it did, and
Different timeline.
yeah.
Or maybe they like had a glimpse into that timeline.
That's just, I don't even know. When people say things and you don't know what to believe.
I mean, it could be divine intervention, right? Like a part of me with my ex, I'm like, maybe there was an angel or like somebody looking out for me who placed my car perfectly there.
Yeah.
Maybe there is somebody who was looking, like, you know, we were talking about entities that could be good. Maybe, you know, maybe there was a ghost around that was like, can I just move her? It's possible.
I wonder if the mother ever did a meeting in the house.
I don't know. But whatever it was protected her.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wonder if she did that to see if there was something in the house.
But then the flashes of the whole, like remembering the doctor's appointments, your daughter having limited mobility, like specifics.
Yeah. And the husband doesn't, I guess you don't know this, but I'm wondering if
It sounds like the husband's a prick.
goes back to the beer.
She's like, our daughter was just in the oven. And he's like, she's not. She's good.
But I mean, it's true. She wasn't.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's just like, imagine that happened to you and you said that to somebody and they're like, what are you talking about? You feel like you're going nuts.
People wanted to know what OP meant when she said her daughter remembers it.
Yeah.
So she says, I probably could have worded that better, sorry. My daughter feels like that timeline is a completely valid one and that she feels like she somehow actually lived it. However, the timeline we are consciously in right now didn't have any of those events in them. But she still feels as though they happened, as though she's been through hell for 20 years and has dealt with the aftermath of it. And she has vague memories of events that are hazy in her barely conscious mind. But when she thinks about the life that she has lived, she can't account for those feelings because when she fell, she landed 2 feet away from the oven. She has never been to a hospital. She has never had any surgeries. She has no burn scars. But she has a deep emotional and mental sense that maybe in a past life or in an alternate timeline this happened because it feels true to her all the same.
Now, this is just one side of it, but do you think she's just saying that to help her mother?
Maybe. I mean,
Was that too much of a stretch?
I feel like if anything, you do the opposite. You downplay it to help your mom. Thinking that it did happen and your mom left the oven open and that you do remember that trauma.
Yeah.
I feel like that's worse.
Yeah, that's fair. That is worse.
like being like, yeah, like I feel like I lived that. I mean, the mom did. People make mistakes all the time, but like the oven should probably not have been left open.
Stayed open? No.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I could totally get how it happened, but I'm sure that it would be better for everyone if she didn't remember it, for her to not say anything.
I want to look more into that story. There's something about that. Like I just picture it like it just glitches and she just like, it's kind of like those pizza rolls.
Uh-huh.
That's how I
moved.
She just moved, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a chess piece, just moved.
Yeah.
And no one's seen it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Do you feel like that happens to you ever? Things just move?
I believe in quantum immortality, but in this story, she didn't die, right?
No. Yeah.
So it's not even like maybe she jumped timelines in the future. Like maybe that's a possible, maybe they did live that life and then for some reason they both passed away and then they were pushed back. But at the same time, like it's kind of, it's kind of an insane.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So the daughter was saying that she has gone through that 20 years of like what it would have felt like.
She feels like when her mom told her the story, she's like, I feel like I fell on an oven. She's like, I feel like I did, like that sounds true to me, even though I didn't. And then she's like, yeah, like I feel like I did, and I feel like I had these burn marks, but I don't. And I feel like I had limited mobility, but I don't. She just like has these, it feels true.
Yeah.
It's almost like that clearly didn't happen, but like I feel like that happened. It's, you know how sometimes you almost are like, did that happen or did I dream it?
Like deja vu.
Yeah, or you're like, did that story happen or did it happen in a dream?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, maybe it was just a relief of a dream.
Yeah.
I would picture it almost like that, like where it's like a dream and you're like, oh, it must have been a dream because that obviously didn't happen. But when her mom tells her the story, she's like,
oh, that was a dream. Oh, that did happen.
yeah, like kind of like, or like it didn't happen, but why do I like remember it? Like it feels real. You know how dream world time is weird?
Yeah.
You know how you can like live like a whole week in dream world?
Yeah. In dream world.
Like sometimes like something will happen in dream world and I'm like, I didn't do that.
You just have this la la life. I've had so many weird dreams like that, but like not negative or anything. Just things that are so vivid and clear. And I'm like,
I feel like this was real.
yeah. And then you wake up, you're like, is that going to happen?
Do you
like,
lucid dream?
Lucid dream?
You can control your dreams. When you consciously become aware that you're in a dream, and then you can do things. And like you like can remember them.
I remember dreams. I can do that.
There are such cool stories of people like meeting people in their dreams that are also lucid dreaming.
Oh no, I've never done that.
Like cool things like that.
No, I've dreamt of things in such detail that I've woken up and be like remembered it, yes. And sometimes I'll write it down because I thought it was, I don't want to forget it. But then most of the nights I get up, I'm like, not even a thought of what happened.
I have been able to, although like I've stopped working on it, but I have been able to lucid dream in the past.
You can practice that?
But often, yeah, you can practice it. But oftentimes I find that I'm more likely to lucid dream when it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Like I'm more likely to become aware it's a dream in a nightmare and like I want to leave the dream. Like I don't want to stay in it.
Yeah.
But like I realize it's a dream and I realize I can do things in the dream to like manipulate the dream. And I know it's a dream, but I'm like, can I get up already? I find that I'm less likely to become aware that it's a dream if it's happy.
You're less likely
to lucid dream in a happy dream.
In a happy dream.
That's just been my experience. I like can, and I find I'm more likely to do it in a nightmare.
Interesting. I guess that makes sense because in a happy dream, you remember it, but it's not to the point of, I guess, taking it out of the dream. I think when you're in horror and fear, it kind of like lives within you.
Well, it's like you're being chased by somebody or like something horrible's happening, and you're like, wait, I can fly. That is not something I should be able to do.
Have you had that where like you can fly, for example, but when you try you can't, and you're like, what's going on? Why can't I fly right now? Like there's something
like in
blocked.
this reality or like in a dream?
In a dream.
I've never had that. It's usually like it's when I have flown in a dream. I was explaining it before. Think of like pushing yourself up and then hitting like a different level of gravity and like backstroking like you would on water is how I would do it. Mm-hmm. But I almost find that whatever dream I'm in, I can manipulate the dream, but I can't necessarily, maybe this is an aphantasia thing too, but I don't necessarily bring things into that dream. So if I can fly in that dream, I can fly in that dream. Yeah. But I don't know that it's almost like I manipulate what the dream story is.
Yeah.
But every dream exists within like these stories.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I'm thinking of like Peter Pan, where you have to really, when you're trying to fly in like a dream, you have to really focus so you don't hit the ground.
I almost feel like to some extent, it's funny what your brain comes up with to like make something happen.
Yeah.
And oftentimes it'll be like dusting something off the corner of your brain that you've seen somewhere.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's the other way. Maybe that's in dream world, that's how you fly. And then video games picked up on that.
Yeah.
And so they brought it down into game world.
Yeah, true.
Which way did it happen? Who knows?
We're living in a game.
Mm-hmm. How you feeling?
We
went for a while.
Yeah, I feel like I have all these like stories and things in my head, and I'm like, what's real? Am I real?
Are you gonna have lots to talk about to other people? It's like
tonight. Yeah.
You were great. Thank you so much. You have so many personal stories.
Well, thank you for having me. I have more stories for later.
Oh my God, good. Yay.
For next time.
Yeah. You're down to come back?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
I'm
well,
down.
That makes me very happy. I'm glad you enjoyed. And if you enjoyed and you want to follow along and see next week's episode or 2 weeks, depends on how many of my friends I can convince to do this with me.
So many friends. So many friends will convince.
But give a like, give a follow, and
subscribe.
Yeah, and subscribe.
Comment.
Yes. All
repost.
That. Mm-hmm. And until next time, Karn.
Until next time. Namaste.